They laughed at Noah. They mocked him, year after year. Hammer to wood, wood to faith, faith to fire. They mocked his obedience because they couldn't hear what he heard. Noah didn't build a boat. He built a response to a word from the living God, a word they ignored, a warning they buried beneath laughter, a judgment they never thought would come. But one day, the skies broke open and heaven stopped waiting, and by then it was too late. Do you hear me? It was too late. The flood didn't start with water. It started with a word, a decree from the throne, a final breath from mercy. And the same God who opened the heavens also shut the door. Noah didn't close that ark. God did. And when he closes a door, no man, no prayer, no scream can open it. You want to be liked. Noah wanted to be right with God. You want comfort. Noah wanted obedience. You want applause. Noah walked through mockery, through loneliness, through decades of rejection, because he believed something this world forgot. When God speaks, you move. The world laughed, because they always laugh. Mockers always find their voice when the judgment is far off and the sky is still blue. They laughed because they'd never seen a flood. They laughed because rain was just a myth. They laughed because Noah was different, because obedience looks like madness to a generation drowning in rebellion. They laughed, but Noah kept building. He wasn't building a boat. He was building a line between life and death, between salvation and wrath, between mercy and fire. Don't you get it? The rain didn't condemn them. Their rejection did. Genesis chapter 6 verse 3, "My spirit shall not strive with man forever." God didn't need a flood to prove he was serious. He had already spoken. But they mocked the warning until the water reached their ankles. And then it was too late. Jesus said, "As it was in the days of Noah, so it shall be in the days of the Son of Man." They ate, they drank, they married, until the flood came and took them all away. They lived like nothing would change, like tomorrow was guaranteed, like eternity was a fairy tale. They laughed, they played, they sinned without sorrow, and then judgment, sudden, total, unstoppable, just like he warned. They laughed at Noah, and they laugh at you. They laugh when you say, "I'm not going to that party." They laugh when you say, "I'm waiting for marriage." They laugh when you say, "I believe in the judgment of God." They laugh when you say, "Jesus is coming." They laugh because they don't hear what you hear, because they don't see what you see, because they don't fear what you fear. But hear me. You don't build an ark when it's raining. You build before, in the dry seasons, in the silence, when there's no evidence, just obedience. Noah didn't wait for proof. He walked with God when no one else would. And his faith looked like insanity to a world already under judgment. And just like Noah, you've got to build. Build your ark, your altar, your secret place, your holiness, your consecration. Build now, before the skies break, before the fire falls. Because it won't be water this time. It will be fire. 2 Peter 3 verse 7, "The heavens and earth are reserved for fire, kept for the day of judgment and destruction of the ungodly." The rain was mercy. The fire is final, and you think you have time. But time is a vapor, a fading breath in the lungs of eternity. Let me ask you something. What side of that door are you on? When judgment comes, and it will, where will you be standing? Outside with the crowd, or inside with the few? Because the majority dies in the flood, only a remnant survives. I wonder how many clawed at the door when the flood came. How many cried out for mercy after mercy had lifted? How many remembered the preacher they laughed at? How many wished they had listened to the man they called mad? but the time for listening had passed, and all that was left was judgment. God does not force you, but He also does not tolerate evil. People often ask, why would an all-loving God allow evils to take over the world at such a massive scale? But get mad when God actually pours out His divine judgment. God does not wish for anyone to perish, because He is all-loving. But God is also all-just, so He must carry out judgment. The choice is yours, and God will not force you. He can only try to convince you with His love.